lieutenant governor, and I was his running mate. So when it came time for us to pick a candidate in 2014, I said, Bob, it's my turn. I get to be at the top of the ticket. And he was great. And he's a great feminist. Here's Bob Fitrakis.
Thank you. And I'd like to, where's Aaron? Aaron, good job. The fact that the Greens have a student section here at Capitol, I think is important and historic. And Aaron, and I think Gabby, who's been in contact as well. And I taught for a few years over here as an adjunct. I'm a professor at Columbus State. And again, I'm also a candidate for county prosecutor for the Green Party. And again, I'm on the record. I'm not going to arrest anyone for drug possession. It's a medical problem. Not only that, I do plan to arrest anyone from the national government violating the U.S. Constitution and spying on citizens with bogus warrants dropped down from the FISA court. And I also plan to, I'll give you one more, those people that frack, those upriver people that frack and have radioactivity, radium-226 and 228 into our water supplies, I intend to arrest them for manslaughter because they're poisoning people. And I believe people have an inherent right to clean air and clean water. All right, well, check that out. And of course, I believe Black Lives Matter. And I want to see our policing reflective of our communities. But since in part this is looking a little at history, we've got to be very clear on what is happening at this point in history. There is the potential still, despite the mainstream for-profit media, to avoid it, to actually create an independent, progressive party. The last time this happened, well, it's really only happened once in U.S. history, and that was in 1860 when the first third party that was progressive, hard to believe now, the Republican Party came forward. Also in 1912, and this year feels a lot like 1912, right, when the sitting president, the conservative Howard Taft, came in third. And the second party was the party of Teddy Roosevelt, the Progressive Party. And Eugene Victor Debs, my personal hero, who received 6% of the vote as the Socialist Party candidate, did the best that a Socialist Party candidate has ever done. And Debs's connection is always good, I think, to invoke, particularly after the run of Bernie Sanders as a Democratic Socialist. Again, I have tremendous respect for Bernie. My only contention, and I'm a recovering Democrat. I've been in third party movements early in my life, and I returned to them primarily because of what is happening with the Clinton strategy of triangulation, right? They're always going to point to the right and say, look how evil this is. This on the right is so evil. And again, I'm all for Trump. I have no trouble saying Trump's evil, particularly some of his social policies, you know. When you can't figure out how to denounce the Klan, there's problems. So you have that out there. But the problem is the triangulation is coming from the Clinton family. And that family now left the White House broke, but is estimated to have $111 million in cash. The Clinton Foundation looks like a huge slush fund. And if you look at the WikiLeaks email leaks directly, it looks like they were selling influence as Secretary of State she was selling gun licenses, permits to the Saudis who could destabilize the Middle East. I mean, you can come to no other conclusion. Also, if you read the DNC email leaks, the DNC, despite its claims of neutrality, destroyed the victory of the Sanders campaign. I believe they systematically stripped Sanders voters in California and in New York from the voting rolls, and that cannot stand. Anyone that truly believed in Sanders will love Jill Stein, but more important, you cannot reward those that are engaging in fraudulent election activity. We need to take a stand on that and say we cannot vote for you because the practices you have engaged in demean democracy and run counter to our Constitution as it now exists and how we have struggled to make it more democratic. So that's the question at this point. What are we going to do? And I think the obvious answer when Jill gets here, and I understand she's promised to do a meet and greet for those of you who were kind enough to stick around, but Jill is going to talk about the Green New Deal. We are at this tipping point in human history where the fossil fuel companies keep going deeper into the ground in order to find the dirtiest fracking material and tar sands oil because they want to sell that product. In an open market, Bloomberg News tells us that alternative energy, that wind energy and solar energy is actually cheaper. The only thing that holds these dirty, filthy, corrupt polluters in place is a political economy, their friends that give them tax breaks and cut them deals and allow them to come in and poison our water by putting 3 to 10 million gallons per frack hole into the groundwater of Ohio. So we can create a Green New Deal. We can put people to work. There's a generation of work in terms of retrofitting houses. There's a generation of work creating, right now we could be hiring people, and this will happen when Stein becomes president. Well, you'll go out to the airport and it'll look like Germany. There'll be canopies everywhere to park your car under with solar panels on top. People will get work. And of course, many of you know, I'll tell you my own history. I've never paid any money for tuition. I have a PhD and a JD. And those on the right will tell you, from the libertarians to the right-wing Republican Party, that I was oppressed. The man oppressed me. Big government paid my way to get a JD and a PhD, and we can no longer do it. But we can do it because we saw when the criminals that tanked our economy, that commodified mortgages with no doc loans, an honor system, how much do you make? Well, 200,000. They were taking this at face value, and they were bundling these mortgages and selling them with accounting companies that were giving them AAA ratings. And then they need to be jailed. Those are precisely the types of criminals. Those people that are committing fraudulent activity that need to be arrested. And any Secretary of State across this country that will target, and I mean John Husted as well, that will target minority voters, that is criminal activity. That's what prosecutors need to do, to go after the real criminals in this system. We know there's an oligarchy, but it's moved beyond that. What we're now talking about is a kleptocracy. the open stealing of the resources and the hollowing out of this nation, and that making it a dumping ground. Yeah. So when Jill Stein becomes president, we can actually talk and have a dialogue about the real issues affecting this country. We won't be sitting, and maybe that's Jill now, but I don't think I can take it. Okay. So I don't know who that was. It looked like it was from the South, so maybe south of here, so maybe it was Jill. But just to conclude, because I forgot what I was saying there, but I'm sure it was important. So in this scenario, I think we're at a historic crossroads. And the future of this country and this planet really depends on what people like yourself are going to do in the next few months. There's really a chance to create a third party. Something that I know some Americans like, we got a damn good system. We came out 47th out of 47th in the last study of democracies by Harvard and the University of Australia. Why not be 47th? We're this close to passing Barbados at 46. So there's some out there, we got two parties, a corporate capitalist pro-war party and a right-wing party that seems to be more pro-war than the pro-war corporate capitalist party that calls itself Democratic. And I know Jill will tell you when she arrives is yes, we should be scared of Trump. He's a nationalist, an ultra-nationalist. He's got Mussolini's moves down, the same kind of ego and that grandiose, I'll solve everything. But also in that scenario, and I won't answer it this time, also in that scenario, shouldn't we be afraid of Hillary Clinton? Yes! Didn't Hillary Clinton, in violation of international law, remove the sovereign head of Libya and create jihadists in that region, 200 or more jihadist units under the guise of a no-fly zone? They allowed these jihadists to gather. They targeted the government of Libya, and then they came up with a story. It was all about a video that had already been online. They refused to tell us the truth as to why they're out there creating chaos. She created chaos in Syria. She created chaos in Libya. They created chaos when she supported Bush's ill-advised, crazy war in Iraq. What type of society says 21 people attacked us on 9/11, 17 were Saudis, 4 were Egyptians, let's bomb the hell out of Iraq because they weren't involved and Al-Qaeda's not even present in the country? We cannot allow her policies, these policies that she's engaged in, from election tampering to the removal of sovereign heads of state and sowing chaos throughout the world, being rewarded with your vote. Because the vote is more than who do I think is going to win and how scared am I of Trump. The vote is about values. It's about your policies. So I suggest you need to think long and hard about what direction this country's heading in.
No more war profiteering!
And there's plenty of it, and Clinton is very close to that war profiteering, as we know. So no more backing of brutal allies all around the globe. No more shaking down corrupt dictators in Azerbaijan for money to the Clinton Foundation. Instead, cast a vote that you're proud of, that reflects your morality and builds for the future, because future historians will record what you did. And I'm hoping when we see green activities organized here at Capitol, it's really a tipping point when the people rose up, took back this planet, and took back their local environments, including Capital University and Bexley and Franklin County in the state of Ohio. Thank you very much, and I give you my good friend Harvey Wasserman.
As they say, God bless the United States of America, right? Okay, so